He played in Jordan's high school all-star game as a senior in high school. There was definitely a relationship.
We all know MJ. Till I'm done, and he doesn't have to look at me run up and down wearing the number 23, and every time my name is mentioned.
For two of the greatest basketball players in the history of the NBA, you'd think there would be a bond. Michael Jordan and LeBron James, names that are forever linked in the same sentence when it comes to greatness, championships, and legacy. But strangely enough, the two legends have spent more than 20 years without developing any real personal relationship. From teenage admiration to distant coexistence, their story is one of missed connections and opposing paths. Today we uncover the subtle tension and mutual respect that kept these two titans apart. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another breakdown from NBA Showdown. LeBron James made it clear in one of his earlier statements that Michael Jordan does not need to look him up and down, especially when he wears number 23. The remark might sound casual, but it carries weight. LeBron acknowledges that anytime his name is mentioned, it automatically brings up Michael Jordan. That fact alone hints at a mix of admiration and frustration. Wearing number 23 was never just about legacy. It was also about the pressure and the shadow of the man who made that number iconic. LeBron didn't just inherit a jersey number, he inherited the comparisons, the criticism, and the expectations. When he said, "Jordan doesn't need to evaluate him," it sounds like a response to a cold shoulder or a lack of engagement from MJ himself. The statement also reflects LeBron's growing awareness that despite the comparisons and the media narratives, a relationship between the two was never mutual. It was a one-way mirror. LeBron looking up to MJ while MJ barely acknowledged what was staring back. And that subtle disconnect set the tone for the next 2 decades.
We all know MJ. Till I'm done, and he doesn't have to look at me run up and down wearing the number 23, and every time my name is mentioned.
Brian Windhorst recalled a powerful story from LeBron's teenage years. LeBron met Michael Jordan while MJ was preparing for his comeback with the Washington Wizards. For LeBron, that moment was unforgettable. For a teenager dreaming of NBA greatness, meeting the icon of the sport must have felt like stepping into a dream. LeBron even spoke about that interaction publicly, describing it as monumental. It was a moment of connection, one where he believed a mentorship might be born. At that time, LeBron was still on the rise, not yet a rival, not yet a legend in his own right. MJ was the blueprint, the unreachable ceiling, and for a brief moment, it seemed like the door to friendship or mentorship had cracked open. That memory stuck with LeBron, and it explains why even 20 years later, there's a sense of longing or confusion when he talks about Jordan. It wasn't just admiration, it was hope for a bond that never came to be.
I do think LeBron really badly wanted to have a relationship. I know that when he was a teenager, he has described the time that they met.
The seeds of their connection go all the way back to LeBron's appearance in Jordan's high school all-star game. That invitation alone speaks volumes. Jordan had his eyes on LeBron early on, recognizing his talent before the world truly knew his name. But something changed the moment LeBron entered the NBA. According to Windhorst, that early spark, that faint glimpse of a relationship, vanished entirely. Whether it was Jordan distancing himself or LeBron becoming too focused on building his own legacy, the two never built on that foundation. And that silence, that absence of interaction, has lasted 2 entire decades. In a world where great players mentor or at least communicate with those following their footsteps, this dynamic is unusually cold. What could have blossomed into one of basketball's most iconic mentor-student relationships instead became a case study of how greatness can sometimes create distance instead of unity. No fights, no drama, just a long silence that never broke.
He played in Jordan's high school all-star game as a senior in high school. There was definitely a relationship.
Windhorst gave one of the most telling insights of all when he pointed out that Michael Jordan and LeBron James are simply very different people off the court. That alone may explain why their connection never went beyond polite nods and media quotes. Jordan is a man of old-school hobbies, fishing, golf, and the thrill of auto racing. He lives a relatively private life focused on ownership, control, and legacy in his own domain. LeBron, by contrast, is deeply entrenched in the media world. He runs production companies, speaks out on political issues, and remains front and center in pop culture. Their personalities, goals, and lifestyles never aligned. And in the world of legends, that matters more than we think. Relationships at that level are not just about respect. They're about shared vision and compatible energies. Jordan may respect LeBron's game, but he might never relate to LeBron's world. And that is why they have remained parallel giants, never intersecting.
There. And then when he got to the NBA, it just wasn't there. And I don't know whether that was LeBron's decision or that was Jordan's decision or it was happenstance, but really...
Wendy emphasizes that even though Michael Jordan and LeBron James never built a meaningful relationship over the last 20 years, it does not mean they are enemies or on bad terms. This is perhaps the most misunderstood element of their dynamic. There's a difference between animosity and indifference. What LeBron and Jordan have is the latter. They simply exist in separate lanes. Jordan has never tried to belittle LeBron publicly, nor has LeBron disrespected Jordan in any major way. But that doesn't change the reality that after 2 decades of opportunities, interviews, events, and games, they still have not developed a meaningful connection, and that makes the silence all the more telling. In a league built on legacy, mentorship, and passing the torch, this void stands out. Maybe it's personal, maybe it's pride, or maybe it's just 2 alphas who were never meant to share the same space. Whatever the reason, the time lost is now impossible to recover.
The relationship never developed for the last 20 years. And I don't think they're in a bad place.
Wendy takes it a step further when she explains that the off-court interests of Jordan and LeBron are so far apart that even when the cameras stop rolling, there's no shared ground between them. Jordan prefers simplicity and solitude. He finds peace in sports like golf, fishing, and racing, individual, controlled environments. LeBron, on the other hand, thrives in the noise. He is a brand, a movement, a media force. He is constantly producing content, running campaigns, speaking out, and staying in the limelight. While Jordan fades into exclusivity, LeBron expands into visibility. This off-court dichotomy creates an invisible wall between them. It's not about who is better or more successful, it is about lifestyle and personality. One lives in retreat, the other in outreach. And because of that, they simply don't orbit the same world. That lack of common interest may be the most overlooked reason their bond never formed.
And the things that LeBron and Jordan have been interested in off the court are very different. Jordan is into golfing, fishing, and auto racing. LeBron is into the media business.
Wendy finally offers a glimmer of hope when she suggests that LeBron and Michael Jordan might actually grow closer after LeBron retires. Why? Because LeBron is already making moves to become a team owner, a world Jordan dominated for years. Ownership is sacred in the NBA. It's the final phase of legacy. If LeBron enters that realm, he will start walking in the same business circles Jordan has ruled for decades. That can finally give them a shared purpose. Legacy, business, growth beyond the court. Perhaps that is when respect can finally turn into a relationship. Perhaps retirement will break down the wall that the competitive era never allowed to fall. And in that world, Jordan may finally see LeBron as something more than a player in his shadow. He may see him as a peer.
But I do think that there could be a relationship after LeBron retires because LeBron wants to be an owner.
For 20 years, the greatest player of the 90s and the greatest player of the 2000s have stayed just far enough apart to leave everyone wondering, why? There is no feud. There is no friendship, just an absence that speaks volumes. Jordan and LeBron were always linked on the court, but never off it. And that may be why the debate between them is so emotional, because it is never settled in the eyes of the players themselves. LeBron chased a ghost that never turned around. Jordan watched from a distance, choosing silence over mentorship. And here we are, 2 decades later, with greatness separated by distance and time. But maybe, just maybe, when the jerseys are hung for good, they will finally talk. Until then, the silence between them will say more than words ever could. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and tap that bell so you never miss another breakdown here at NBA Showdown.